All right, this is the solution for patient Melinda Goble. And the first diagnosis that I got for this patient is diabetes, E11.9. And I got that because it said here in the first line that she's coming back to the clinic today for a 5-month recheck for her type 2 diabetes and her hypertension. If you got if you put that the hypertension was the first listed diagnosis, I don't think that's necessarily wrong. I sequenced the diabetes first because down here in the assessment, the provider sequenced diabetes first, and it seemed to me that the focus of this visit was more around her diabetes than it was the hypertension, because they talked more about her recent hemoglobin A1C. They talked up here about how often she checked her blood sugar. So it seemed to me that the provider was more focused on her diabetes than hypertension. So the second diagnosis that I coded on this one is I-10 for hypertension. The third diagnosis that I put on here is M25.511 for the right shoulder pain that the provider evaluated. Said she's been having some right shoulder pain. And the right shoulder pain was also documented down here under assessment. I also coded E78.5 for the hyperlipidemia. That's down here too. The provider mentioned that she'd had a lipid check 2 years ago, but hadn't checked since. And then down here, the provider is sending her for her hemoglobin A1C and some blood work, including lipids. And then I also coded Z79.84, and I coded that because of her daily metformin use. You could also code long-term use of aspirin. It's not wrong, but it doesn't really affect anything for this encounter. I only coded the metformin because, again, that seemed to be the focus of this visit was her diabetes. And then finally, the E&M that I coded for this patient was 99213. She's an established patient, and it says up here that the provider spent 25 minutes with her. So those are the codes that I got for patient Melinda Goble.